Hey Taurus, and welcome to your May 2019 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And an interesting time coming up for you. I know that you are a little bit weighed down. I know that you're a little bit dialed into past cycles still, but there is progress coming your way, Taurus. I don't want you to worry too much about what is around you, because the moral of the story that I feel coming up for you now is an incredible story of moving on. So I want you to really get front and center with yourself coming into the month of May and honor who you are and what you've been. It is your birth month coming up, so super happy birthday to those of you who are aging up. You can easily find the blessing here if you let yourself. You can easily find that you have been lucky with what has fallen out of your life, that you have been blessed to see certain people go, or blessed to see certain expectations fall. It could also be possible to look at those things as great losses. But what I'm hearing for Taurus is that there is not loss, there is only healing through what you have let go of and what has fallen through. Okay, so I think that you're coming from a period of time, obviously, where there were many perhaps ambitions, desires, needs, wants that were not taking you in the best direction, actually, and they fell through. And it's very easy to mourn that and grieve that, and that might be important for some of you. But there's a moral that comes back center that shows you really clearly how much better off you might be without some of these things, or perhaps how to innovate them in a direction that is better for you. Because again, this month of May for you, this birth month for you, this Taurus season for you, Taurus, is drastically impacting how you cope, how you get better from something, how your immune system works, how your psychological immune system works. It is a health month, I feel, where you do have to pay extra attention to what's going into your body. You have to pay extra attention to your scheduling, your cycle. I think that there is perhaps a joy in sleeplessness or a joy in restlessness for you that is being fixed here. Perhaps a connection to, I'm not going to say needing or wanting to be stressed, but stress and the channeling of stress is not at the best place entering the month, and you come through the month with it in a better place, with that incredible Nine of Swords reversed, which I really like for you because it says to me that you see through the stimulus of your stress. You see through what is holding you back, and you can mold it and get it in your hands a little bit better, directly through taking more forward cardinal action. The Chariot and the Devil are in your reading together along with the Tower there. 3 major Arcana cards, and I always say 3 or more, and it will be a month to remember within the year that we are reading for. So yes, May will be very memorable for you in the sense of what you move on from, in the sense of what cycles you leave behind, what shackles you cut, and what things that fell through and how they blessed you for falling through. Okay, really being able to wrap your mind around the blessing within the perceived anguish is going to be important here. I really sense that some of you in Taurus season, and this is kind of for everybody too, I've been feeling this, there's a sense of finally having to get good with the past, but further beyond getting good with the past, there's a sense of realizing it in its entirety. And what do I mean by realizing it in its entirety? Not just the understanding of it or seeing that it's there or seeing what it represented, but when I say realize, it's like the true creation, the true making real of the past. So there's an easiness to make the past more fixed here and to gain a higher understanding of what the past was. Again, May is not the most past-oriented energy, but Taurus actually is a past-oriented sign. Some people would argue that, but the memory of Taurus is very strong, so I always attribute it with the past because Taurus is like right up there with Cancer and Scorpio when it comes to remembering things, when it comes to sometimes not being able to let go of memories, or not being able to let go of past conceptions. Again, it's that fixed earth energy, so it has to have a good memory so that it can be stubborn, as we know Taurus to be. Without a memory or without a muscle memory, there's nothing to really be stubborn about because there's no experience to base that on. So stubbornness, I think, will also be highlighted here for you, for everybody. Again, that's not just Taurus. And I do feel stubbornness towards the past, or stubbornness towards people of the past that was the wrong side or that was unfair to people does become obvious here. You might see that like a relationship from the past perhaps somebody meddled in that relationship, or somebody really took advantage, like a third party. I am feeling a third party for a lot of people. When they thought it was only two people dealing with it. And you could see that that third party may have had a lot more control than you realized. And perhaps some of the anguish came from that person and you kind of attributed it all to the other person. Likewise, this could be you too. Like you could see that a partner that you had in the past was heavily influenced by a third party or something outside of the relationship. And like finally you wake up and see, okay, so that wasn't even me. That wasn't even what was going on. Okay, sirens in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. So there's a tension, there's not an emergency, but there's a sense of heading towards the emergency as you realize that a third party in the past or even in the present was influencing a relationship or something important in your life more than you understood. And that really changes the game for some of you. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling for Taurus. May changes the game. That's what's coming forward for you. So how incredible. Again, I know 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords, 5 of Swords, the Tower, the Devil, 3 of Swords. We could look at this as something existential crisis, dark night of the soul, but I don't feel it to be that for you intuitively. I feel this to be changing the game. I feel it to be setting the record straight, and I feel it to be a reemergence of who you actually are, and the character that you lost about 4 years ago coming back front and center and making the people around you and yourself clear on the new energy that you have, the things that have fallen through which prevented you from working with energy or prevented you from functioning at a high energetic level. The falling through of those things, which at the time was perceived as a loss, clicks now into the realization of the past and the realization of how you can function better now. So what more can you really ask for in a birth month to be given that solar deposit of energy? Because whenever we come back into our birth month or our birth season as a sign, there's a new deposit of energy. It's almost like an allowance if you would think of a bank account being deposited yearly every time that the transiting sun conjuncts your natal sun and your progressed sun as well. There is an injection and deposit of energy. So you are going to be above some of these things coming up here. The Tower is reversed. It's not a mind shattering or emotional security shattering experience anymore. This is something that you've gotten clear on, and this is something, 9 of Swords reversed, that you have been very upset about, and something that you have been unable to sleep over, and you see it from a new perspective now. You see the other side of it, and it's reversed. You call it out, you see it, and you can now let go of it. And what do I mean when I say something? It's whatever it is, Taurus, that has been really haunting you lately. I'm not going to define what that could be because it'll be different for everybody, but you see through it, it reverses itself, and you're challenged to break the shackles, move on, and see things for how they are, letting your game be changed by that new vision. Okay, Taurus, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the week to week for you. I'm excited to see what's coming up because I think these messages are really great, are going to resonate incredibly, because I feel this. As someone who knows many Taurus people, a lot of y'all know that I feel like Taurus is one of the most active signs in my life. I've known so many Taurus people, dated a handful of Taurus people, so I feel like I know your energy quite well, and I can see how you can make this work incredibly in your favor. But in the first week of May, you have the 10 of Wands, rooted down by 5 of Swords reversed. You're working too hard at something. You're putting too much into one individual thing. And it's like the things that you might be turning your back on or allowing to escape to the peripherals are like where the energy needs to be. And there's a lesson here as well, I feel, that sometimes to directly try too hard at something can be a deficit or a detriment. You might have seen, Taurus, lately that the things that you try hardest at kind of mediocrely, I don't want to say they fall flat, but they kind of just barely stand up with like 110% put into them. Whereas the things which you're kind of, walking by, not putting that much effort into, being intuitive with, they're really skyrocketing up. Okay, so if there can be a bit of an adjustment and a bit more of a balance of where the energy goes, perhaps also letting some things go, okay, letting some entrepreneurs, business owners, people who work a lot of overtime at their jobs or have like a full-time job and also a side hustle, things have to be, what do I want to say? They have to be calibrated. There has to be a calibration of where the energy goes during that week for you, and an understanding of what you want to commit so much energy to, because I think you're too drained. I think you're working too hard at something, and it's like that overcompensation makes you doubt for whatever reason, like why certain people are in your life. Five of Swords reversed, you're afraid of being taken advantage of. Someone might have tried to take advantage of you, but you shut it down. That could also be what's coming up there. You feel like you're having to work really hard to see people's true intentions to you. That actually resonates more to me for you. Having to work too hard to know where people's allegiance lie, where people's true thoughts are. I sense for a lot of Taurus that if you're in relationships, there's a difficult sexual compatibility thing going on potentially where you can't really get on the same page, or you either feel like the other person is not interested in you, or they're not interested in you in other ways other than sexual ways. So there is a sexual healing thing that really does have to happen in May for you. I'm feeling that quite strongly, and there is an old cycle of operating within the root chakra that must now ascend and become less low vibrational. So that's actually a pretty incredible healing thing to be happening for you, and to really step into June on the other side, operating at a much easier, funner, enjoyable level there, because something just isn't enjoyable there. Something is a bit brutal there, I'm feeling, and like you're not giving yourself space either. You're not giving yourself much room to breathe, okay? Moving into the second week, Three of Swords, you're down by Six of Wands. It's not so bad, really. You're overcoming heartbreak. You're overcoming this thing that this Tower reversed, Nine of Swords reversed thing, when they weren't reversed, is represented by that Three of Swords. And there's some kind of confidence that you actually gain from it in the second week, where you realize this isn't about my self-esteem. This isn't about my ability to bring something to the table. This is about this other person, or this career, this illness. This is about those things becoming a variable of restlessness, or a variable of excuse. Okay, not saying that you guys are making excuses. I know this is complicated, but it will become clear in the second week that you might see, oh my God, my job wore me out. My job, the overtime that I worked has really pushed me over the edge. Now I have to rest for a few days. Now I'm not going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to do what I need to do. Okay, there could be a major gap in wants and needs this month, in the sense that something that you might really need to do for yourself, whether that be the spa day, or whether that be going shopping, or eating enough food, or eating the right kinds of food. Those things may be interpreted by yourself as wants, not needs. So you don't give them to yourself, and then you get more depressed, or you get more upset. You'll need to see that in the second week, because it's by overcoming that and giving yourself what you need and pulling back from too much overtime. Quarter 2 and quarter 3 of 2019 are not about working 1,000,000 hours a week. It's not about making, 15% more money in a month by working 95% more hours. It's not about that in these 2 quarters. We can do that later this year, but Jupiter's retrograde, Pluto's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde. We have to be diligent in how we spend our energy. And I want you guys to think about what that might mean for you starting in the second week and the first week, really. What would diligently spending my energy look like? Is it spending more? For some of you, it could also be, if you've had a chronic health issue, or if you've had illness, it could be getting too stuck into that and not allowing yourself to do more. That could be for some, but for most of you, it's doing too much and needing to pull back a little bit. So really just ask yourself that question. And I feel in the second week, you get a burst of confidence about moving through that, and through moving on with that, you overcome this heartbreak thing, because you're being liable to yourself and you're being responsible with what you have to work with. Okay. Week number 3, Taurus, you have the Devil rooted down by the Chariot. The most energetic week of the month for you, in the sense that you get really clear on the cycles of the past. You get really clear on what you need to do to move forward from them, and you start moving forward. Okay, this isn't a week where you're thinking, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to kind of keep doing the status quo. You are making a change here, and it's like, even if you don't cut the shackle off, it's like you break it off with how hard you're going the opposite direction. I see the mental image of one of those shackles in the Devil being attached to the carriage in the Chariot and just breaking off by how quickly it runs the opposite direction. Things that hinged you to the past can get really quickly broken off there, whether you anticipate it or not. Oh my God, there's the most gross mosquito. Ooh, I killed it, and I destroyed my lamp too, Taurus. Oh my God, did I just destroy my lamp? Ugh. Well, you see, this is what's happening, Taurus, and I'm not going to edit this out either. Sorry. Sorry, I just had to kill it. I'm not going to edit this out. Let me turn on a different light, because this is what's happening to you, Taurus. You see like a mosquito, you see a leech, you see something in your life, and you go for it. And sometimes when you kill something, or you, I hate to say that, may the mosquito rest in peace. Sometimes when you get rid of something contaminated and blood-sucking in your life, it knocks out the light for a second. And that's what just happened to me. You know, it takes a bit of force to do that, and it can kind of change the way that things look for a minute. So this is what I'm talking about with things getting clear for you. And I'm sorry for those of you who might have been listening to this going to sleep. I know that a lot of you like to do that, and now you're like wide awake. But yeah, and then you kind of feel bad, right? Like, I feel kind of bad for the mosquito. I feel bad that it's killed, but they're not, like a spider, I don't kill spiders. Like, I catch spiders and I release them. But mosquitoes, you can't really do that with in the same way. And I feel like you guys have energetic mosquitoes that you got to knock out. And for a second, when that happens, it can reverberate, you know? It can mess up your lamp. I think I cracked the light bulb is what happened. Hopefully I haven't traumatized you guys too much, but that is like the energy of the third week, is sort of getting rid of leeches, getting rid of blood-sucking energy out of your life. And don't get freaked out when that happens, when there's a little bit of darkness that emerges and you start thinking, okay, was that really the right thing to do? Should I actually have kept that person in my life? It feels really dark now. You know, the proverbial lamp has been broken by my removal of this blood-sucking, disease-ridden thing in my life. Why is it dark? Okay, this is something that can happen when something has been within your paradigm so long, and it feasts on your health. It feasts on what you have, like a mosquito, like a blood-sucking, you know, tick or something. When it's been there for a while, an infection can come, or the removal can create a ripple effect, because there's a readjustment in the energy spectrum when something like that is removed. Okay, because it gets automated, it gets tied into the flow of energy, that there is a parasitic action going on. So to remove it is almost like a healing crisis, you know, energetically, you know, whether or not the mosquito has bitten you, or whether or not whatever, you know, this is the energetic impact of the removal of that. And I think that what's happened tonight is such a great metaphor for it. And it's kind of, you know, I don't want to kill anything, and I hope that my vocabulary was not weird there. Do excuse me if it was. But that mosquito, there's no telling what kind of disease it was carrying. There's no telling what kind of, you know, schemes and plots that it had to, like, eat my face off while I was sleeping or something. You know, I'm not going to feel bad for killing it, because it chose to be here. And this is another thing about parasitic energy, is it only knows how to be parasitic a lot of the time. And this is not always the case with humans who have parasitic tendencies, although it is often the case as well. It only knows how to be parasitic, but it has an instinct to fly towards that which can be leached, okay? So there's a dependent tie between that which is parasitic and that which is leached from, if this is making sense. And that is the tie that you're breaking this month, Taurus. That is the shackle that you're breaking, is being on either side of that. You know, some Taurus could be on the parasitic side of that, but I feel it more to be, you know, you breaking off from being identified as a target for parasitic activity energetically. And I can't help but still feel bad for the mosquito. And I'm thinking that that's also because you guys are feeling bad for getting rid of what seeks to, like, infect you or take your life force. So that's something that we have to look at with the Devil in the Tower and 9 of Swords, 10 of Wands, 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords. Are we feeling guilt for removing what threatens our livelihood? So relating to the need of a parasitic person or energy to leech, or they lose their livelihood. So you kind of like put yourself up for sacrifice. Like, okay, I have all this livelihood. I have all this life force. I will be your victim. I will leech my energy out to you because I know that you need it, and I know that's how you're wired, and you can't help it. So there's like, it's not victim mentality. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like relating to a victimizer, or understanding empathetically the needs of a victimizer and finding some sort of rationale for them to act the way that they do. So this is something that's being tested and tried this month for you in the third week, and you are being pulled away and breaking that shackle off, and seeing in the fourth week, 9 of Cups reversed, you're down by 9 of Swords reversed, that something can't go on. Seeing that opinion, that attitude set can't go on. And that's an incredible healing opportunity for you right there, where you see, now I've got to close myself off from being leeched. I've got to set solid boundaries in my life. And I've got to not tolerate people who want to take my life force in the same way. Energetic vampires, psychic vampire, emotionally abusive types of people who feed off of emotional experience. There could even be something ritualistic here that some of you are getting out of too, in the sense that I think that moving into June, really shows you a much more pure, less leeched type of experience. And maybe this is why a lot of this is coming up, is because there have been so many leeches and you've not really been able to either identify them, or you felt too bad to get them out of your lives. And now you see, with the Tower reversed as your central theme, that ship has sunk, or that bridge has fallen, and now you do what you need to do to heal and be yourself. Because what is another symptom of really playing up emotional vampires, or really bending the knee to leechy parasitic people? Illness. And I feel that some of you, through illness or through, sometimes it's not even physical illness, it can just be illness of energy or illness of emotion, which does eventually manifest as physical illness. Some of you see that here and you're like, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to not allow these blood-sucking creatures of my life the chance or opportunity to outdo me, or to take what is mine, which is my life force. And of course, you guys know me, I have to look at this from the other side as well. This isn't just about getting rid of vampiristic people from your life. This is also about identifying them. I feel that some of you also have identified people as parasitic when they may not have been. That is possible for some of you, and I'm losing my voice right now, which is a sign to me that what this is something that is difficult to be spoken on, or something that might feel unspeakable in your life, but it feels to me that it needs light shown on it. That there is a learning time coming this month of, like, when you've successfully gotten parasitic people out, and when you've identified people who weren't as such, when again it was this third party that I've been talking about since the beginning of the reading that was more parasitic and more volatile or dangerous for you. So it's about identifying this third party now, and perhaps taking the appropriate action for some of you. All right. Positives of this reading, because I feel like it got a little bit dark. You're not bored this month. You're not going to feel stuck this month either. You're going to very quickly get some mobilization, some movement, some change in scenery that will be really great for you. You're going to feel beautiful. You're going to feel perhaps even a bit noble, or a bit above other people. And I don't sense this to be in a bad way for most of you. Six of Wands and the Chariot together are a great combination, because it says to me that there is no more fear in proceeding to make the changes that you've needed to make. You're behind yourself this month. You're behind what you need to do, and you grow stronger and more confident with more energy as you move through the month to handle June in a really, really incredible way. Positive energy comes throughout this, so that is a blessing. This would be more difficult energy to deal with if it were like a month like February or something, when there's not so much energy to use and so much energy to go off of. So again, Taurus, just really think about this month in reference to how much energy you're spending, in reference to the types of people that you choose to keep or choose to push out of your life, and think about what can't go on anymore, and how you want to move forward, living and thriving entirely, diligently using your energy and really getting a good return on that. Your energy can really return like an investment with Uranus and Taurus, and the Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn, even though they're retrograde, Saturn and Pluto. I'll have videos on those as well. You can check below. This is such a great time to get a return on the energy investment for you. Uranus in your sign gives you more energy and more ability to face anything that might come up. So you are one of the more energized signs of the zodiac. You have a little bit more endurance, a little bit more motivation, and a little bit more staying power than some of the other signs do right now. So do remember that, and be thankful for your blessings. And I so hope that you guys find something positive from this reading. I've enjoyed being here. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, rising sign to get some more clarification on what's going on. And as always, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, hit the bell button, and comment your experience below. Okay, There's more information in the description box. I'm on Patreon. You can get these readings early and ad-free over there, as well as my benevolence audio streams where I go into everything with like this incredible like summary of everything in the month. You can get that over on my Patreon page as well. It's super fun, super great. I hope to see you guys over there. Yeah, good luck, Taurus. Happy birthday to you guys. Happy birthday. I love you guys. I love you guys so much because you're some of the warmest, like most magnanimous, most loving people. And I know that you went through a period of years there where that wasn't very validated for you, or you weren't really drawing in the types of people who could return that to you. And I think that people are really sad about that and really apologetic. You know, I perhaps even feel that way in reference to Taurus from my past. I feel like sometimes if I can just open up with you guys a little bit, I feel like I wasn't ready to accept the love that I've received from Taurus before. Not that I messed up, you know, completely, or not that I was just a terrible person. Of course, this is the nature of relationships, like it's complex, but sometimes people aren't ready to take what you give. And sometimes people, it's not that they even choose not to return it, but sometimes they don't quite register the depth of what they're being given from you. And I think that that has taken a toll on a lot of you. And I think that that has shifted a lot of you in a deep way. And now you're like, why am I giving? Why do I give anymore? What's the point of giving? Okay. So that existential crisis has to be reverberated with the realization that it's less deliberate than you think. And people, when they lose you or when they move away from you, they really start to look at their lives differently, and they really start to make positive progress most of the time. So if you're struggling with like people from your past disappearing, or if you're struggling with people from your past not really making sense in your current story, remember that you probably served an incredible role in their life to the degree of now, after they go through your life, when they emerge into the next chapter of their lives, they really get things in order. They really have to face themselves, and they really have to, you know, get things predictable, solid, lucrative, financially lucrative, and they face that, and they tend to do that. You know, a lot of Tauruses will see that they take on somebody who's really struggling financially or emotionally or with a health crisis, and that person comes out on the other side with a lot more within the next year than they entered. And, you know, you have to not be upset about that. That can be frustrating for Taurus to see that people come out the other side with more than they came in. Because you don't really understand why that would only happen after a breakup or after something separates. But it's such a blessing, and it's so indicative of your energy, I feel, to like truly be helpful to someone. Again, this is the Scorpio-Taurus axis that we're talking about. Scorpio is not the only sign representative of deep transformation. It is you as well, Taurus, because you're on that same axis. Except you are a dualistic relationship sign. Second, you're a 2 number, second house. So oftentimes you will transform others. Okay, you will easily transform others, and of course yourself too. But you will also reap the most of your transformation through seeing transformation in other people. And I think that you're seeing a lot of that here, and you're seeing things in a different light, and you're seeing things and maybe rethinking how things went for some of you. And I would just urge you guys to like enjoy yourselves. By June, I'm really hoping that you enjoy yourselves, and I'm really hoping that you don't fear what things were or how things could be. Anyway, Taurus, I'm rambling a bit, but I love you. I appreciate you. And I think that you are honed for whatever difficult experience might come up here, and moving forward with much more grace and enjoyment and thriving in your life. Anyway, we'll talk soon, Taurus. Much love. This is Sky. Subscribe below. Bye.